Hey guys, my name's Crystal Kenny, and I'm in love with creating. All things artistic and imagination involved. I'm an American girl who chased her creative dreams all the way to Paris, France, making a living using photography. This podcast takes you inside the stories of all the artsy folks I've met along the way and gives you that extra push to discover your creative gifts. The desire to create is deeply inside each and every one of us, and I give you the tools and inspiration to find a new way of living a more creative life. This is La Vie Creative, the podcast.
Today on the show, I interview author Christine Betts. Christine is originally from Australia, but she was very inspired on her many visits to Paris. We talk about writing, criticism, and how the world is changing and how we are changing through different things such as spirituality, integral theory, and much more. This is a super interesting episode, guys, and I can't wait to share it with you. So welcome to the show, Christine.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
I'm very happy to have you here because, as I was saying before I hit the record button, Claudine is a huge fan of yours and she connected us, and I just respect anyone she respects. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Well, I'm a huge fan of both of you, and I binge all your episodes, and I love it. And I love her take on history and Paris, and she's just so full of joy. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, definitely when we're passionate about something, it just shows in the way we talk about things and the way we present ourselves. So yeah, she's found her love, and yeah. I want to talk about your love today, your love of writing.
I do love
but
it.
I want to yeah, that's it. And I know you were having a love of painting at one point too, but we're going to talk about that later because I think that has kind of drifted away. I definitely want to pick your brain about that.
Absolutely.
So let's go back to the beginning. You have visited Paris, you've been in France, and you fell in love, and then you started writing. But I want more of this story. So what exactly happened? What brought you here?
I have always loved Paris. You know, if you're a Francophile, you find that out very early and it hits hard, you know. And as a small child, a young woman, I suppose, you know, early teens, I just fell in love with all French art and, you know, just pored over books and in the library because, you know, no internet. I can't even imagine what I'd be like if I'd had Google Maps and the internet back then. But and I set my goal to go to Paris, and I did, and was not disappointed. And I've spent time there as, you know, as a solo traveler. I spent that time there on my honeymoon with my husband, of course. I took my little boy there when he was 7, and I've been back with girlfriends. So for me, it's a city for all opportunities and all reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Every reason to celebrate.
Yes. And I have been working on a memoir of sorts called Remembering Paris, you know, just with all those little stories of all those different Christines that went there, you know. And how my vision, my memories of Paris as all those different elements of myself.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because when we come here at different ages, it's completely different experiences, right? You have different money in your bank account, you have a different brain, you have different experiences.
Yes. Yeah. And especially going there with my husband on our honeymoon, and we stayed for, I think, 2 or 3 weeks the first time, and then we went off to Italy and what have you. And then we came back and experienced it again in a different, you know, we'd been married then for a few months, and we'd been on the road for 3 or 4 months. So it was a different quality, and we just spent a lot of time sitting in gardens and feeding pigeons and walking along the river. It's different energy. Yeah,
and it's good when vacation doesn't become a job, right? You want to keep it relaxing and inspiring, and that's what led you to write your first novel, was visiting Paris.
I had been writing memoir. I think most fiction writers, I can't, just the ones I've met maybe, start writing nonfiction, writing memoir, you know, because you mine your own life. And I was staying in this absolutely remarkable house, Airbnb, near Notre Dame. And I was swimming in the basement pool, as you do, and I just thought, there's a little door there. What is that little door? And then all of a sudden, this whole idea of this being a hotel and women coming to stay there, and they have reached a certain point in their life, and that little door is a time portal, and they can choose to go back in time to a time in Paris when they thought they were happier. And yeah, so that's how the first, and I'd never really written fiction before that, and that's the first book, Hotel Deja Vu, came out of that idea.
I love that. That's such an interesting story. And like, I like how you said how they thought they were happier during those times. So twist in the book.
Because we always do. We all we look at everything through rose-colored glasses. So that is actually a beautiful home that people can stay in. And the hosts are amazing, and the whole place is just stunning. So I can give you the link for that for your show notes if you like.
Yeah, we'll definitely share that in the show notes. I'm sure everybody wants to go there after hearing just your little explanation of it. And then you wrote a second book as well.
Yeah, there's always a house in all of my stories. And this one is not connected to Hotel Deja Vu at all, but it follows a young woman who's a bit lost. And she's her name's Alia Henry, and she gets into trouble with the law and ends up in a crumbling old chateau down in the Loire Valley. And some craziness ensues after that, where she finds herself wandering around the house at night, and the house shifts and changes, and she wonders if she's having a dream, but then she wakes up and realizes that it wasn't a dream. So, yeah, I like the idea of things are not always as they seem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that
it keeps the reader thinking and exploring ideas while checking the ideas.
Yeah, because we can't believe everything we think, and we can't believe everything we see or read. So I like to ask a lot of questions and encourage my readers to not think that they know what's going to happen.
I like that. Keep them on edge. Because a lot of times when we read books or watch movies, we're like, okay, I know how this is going to end. It's so predictable.
Yeah, and that's not so bad. Like the idea of knowing, of feeling comfortable with what happens, that surprising yet inevitable ending, is what makes us love certain books. And we always love to go, oh, okay, I'm happy with that ending. Thank you. Thank you, writer, for giving me the ending that those characters all deserved. So
I like that. Yeah. And where do your ideas come from? Like, it sounds like you have to get pretty, deep and go different directions. So how do you get things all twisted, and how do you develop your characters and things like that?
That's a great question. I think a lot of writers get asked that. And I do, actually, I heard you mention with another guest on your show, morning pages. I do my morning pages every day, like a good girl. And I get a lot of, my process is just writing. I write and write and write. And so my morning pages are a continuation of my writing process. And quite often, and I always do the full 3 pages, because quite often in that last few sentences, I will get an answer to either something in my life that I have questions about, or something in the story. And I'm like, oh, okay, she's already dead. That's the twist. Or, yeah. So I mean, I cannot swear highly enough about morning pages. It's no such thing as writer's block when you do morning pages. I can promise everyone that.
That's great advice, because I think a lot of people do get kind of stuck, and especially when you're writing fiction, you're like, how do I make this interesting and things like that. So you definitely recommend morning pages.
Absolutely. It has been the one thing. I mean, I love my podcasts. I've actually said to my friends, just message me with, stop if you want me to stop giving you podcast recommendations, because I'm obsessed. But, between listening to podcasts and doing my morning pages, I really think that they're the top 2 reasons that I'm, sort of having I'm very prolific writer. And this last 8 months or so, I've been having some really, I've been leveling up, just been having some, sometimes, especially in Australia, we're not encouraged to brag or skite or blow our own horn, but I've been having some really good successes, winning competitions and stuff like that with my writing. And I just put it down to the fact that I just write a lot.
Yeah, writing and reading, right? They say that's the best way to be a writer.
Absolutely. And travel. I mean, my first, 2 books was inspired by France and Paris in specifically. And then I've got another book with short stories that are all set in Paris. And it's called Set in Paris. There you go.
I like that.
And I just think, I've just won a competition with a short story that was set in Bali. And, I do get travel is nothing like travel for expanding the mind.
You have to live a life to write about life, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And also I think it helps a lot to win competitions because we all have that imposter syndrome all the time. So it's just kind of like giving us a boost of confidence.
Yeah, but I think that's something that I didn't realize until I started writing and shipping stuff off to get feedback, whether it be in a competition or to an editor or what have you. My years as a painter, I painted professionally as an in-house artist for an interior design supply firm, and we made big art installations and paintings for hotels, and I've probably painted thousands and thousands and thousands of paintings over my life. And one thing I learned was to be completely open to any kind of criticism or feedback and glean from it. Even if someone says, I hate that painting or I hate that book, I go, okay, that's your opinion. Thank you. What did you hate about it? I learned to actually, I thrive on feedback and criticism. And when I'm writing in a vacuum, when I'm not getting any criticism or feedback, I'm like, what am I doing? Can someone it's like Lisa Simpson says, grade me.
The grade.
I just need someone to tell me whether or not this is good or terrible or anywhere in between.
And that's so great that you can embrace criticism, because I think a lot of us, especially artists, they have a hard time taking that. And sometimes criticism is just lame as well. It's just a reflection of that person's life and not anything to do with your work. But when it's constructive, that's great. Yeah. So you're talking about like constructive criticism.
Yeah, or I've got to the point where, I've sat in meetings for client briefs and where they've, said, looked at all the mock-ups that I've done and said, I hate all of it. And I'm like, right, okay, let's do something new. And I don't know, I'm kind of impervious to criticism at this point. Is that the right word? Impervious? Yeah.
It's just like anything. The more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah. And really, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're not going to die because someone says they didn't like your story. You may as well just put it out there.
And how do you tell the difference between like criticism that's just them and constructive criticism? How do you decide what to take from what people are telling you?
I think if somebody says, okay, so I wrote this story set in Paris called May and June. And one of the main characters, June, is the nastiest woman on the planet. She has no redeeming qualities. She's beautiful, but she's a very cruel, nasty person. And people have said to me, oh, no, she has no arc. She's nasty, and she stays nasty from beginning to end. And that's okay. If someone says to me, oh, no, I didn't like June at all. She's absolutely horrible. I can't deal with her. She has to have – it's like, well, that's a you thing. You're uncomfortable because you don't want to think that a woman could be just a nasty person. Yeah. And other people say, oh, I love her. She's delicious. She's just so self-absorbed. And yeah. So sometimes but I will always take on I will listen to any criticism, and then I'll go back and look at my story and go, okay, yeah, all right, that has some merit. Or but it's not taking it personally. That's one of the 4 agreements, isn't it? Don't take anything personally. But
Yeah.
you can mine it for, like we mine our lives for inspiration, we can mine people's feedback for areas where we can grow and learn.
I think that's great advice, because I like we just said, like, a lot of people suffer from taking criticism, so that's really good advice. And I want to talk a little bit about your painting career, because, like you said, you painted over 1,000 paintings. Like, that was a big part of your life as well. And right before we started recording, you were telling me you never want to paint again. You don't want to pick up a paint again. You're done.
Absolutely.
So
I always said that I could quit painting anytime, but I would never stop admiring or loving art in general. So for me, one of my main things when I travel is to find an art museum or a gallery or, anything like to do with art. Art history is particularly something I'm super passionate about. I love to admire other people's art and encourage other people and go to museums, like I said. But I really, I had a bit of an issue with it too, because I felt like, especially the artworks we were making that were going to be in a hotel room for maybe 3, 4 or 5 years until they rebrand or redo things. And I really had this sort of guilt about this work that was going to end up in landfill. And that for me, I didn't feel that. I feel that I can achieve something like mastery with my writing. I could never achieve, and this is completely me being objective. I am not a master painter. I'm not a master artist, and I was never going to. I knew I was never going to achieve what I wanted to achieve with painting, but that's okay, because now I've been writing seriously for 5 years. I stopped. I did some artwork for friends and family for Christmas last year, and under duress. And I'm if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. But if you can be with the one you love, like, I love writing. I'm passionate about writing. I feel very good about having closed that door. Yeah. I still buy art materials though, because painting and using and buying art materials are 2 completely different hobbies, apparently.
Yeah, it's like collecting them.
Yes, I still have a bit of but I have to stop myself because it's a bit stupid.
So did you start off painting just for fun and then it became a job, or it was always a job?
I grew up in the 80s, so it was always going to be about business. I'm quite business minded, and I loved, I started out, thinking that, oh yes, I'd love to be an artist, with exhibitions and what have you. But just this job fell in my lap. I became an in-house artist for this firm and ended up running the place. And I love that link between business and art. I did. It's not really something that I am passionate about now. But yeah, that for me, I wanted my art to mean something no, that's not the right word. I wanted it to be successful, and and I wanted to run, and I mean, now my husband and I run a big business, and I love that side of things, but I'm really glad that my writing is completely separate from business. I mean, my first 2 novels are self-published, but about 2 years ago I decided to pursue a more traditional route of publishing, because I love writing. I love talking about my writing. I love marketing it. I love the editing process. My sister is my editor, and I love collaborating with her, and she can say anything about my writing and I go, great, thank you, off I go.
Yeah.
And so I want to expand that and have more of that with a publisher, with an agent, with an editor, what have you, because I found that I don't enjoy the business side of it anymore. I don't want to choose a cover. I don't want to.
You just want to write art.
Yeah, I just want to write. And I want the experts to come in and do that side of things, what they're good at. And so
You don't want to wear all the hats anymore.
Yeah. And it's great that we have the opportunity now to choose. Independent publishing is completely acceptable these days, especially after the pandemic. A lot of people, a lot of the big traditional houses have looked at what the indies are doing and had to pivot. To more ebooks and what have you. There were still people 2 or 3 years ago who thought that, ebooks weren't real books. So it's, even though,
It's come a long way.
it has come a long way, and and the indie books are wonderful quality now. I mean, you can. There are some. I mean, J.K. Rowling is an independent publisher. She publishes all her audiobooks.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
you can even get hardcovers printed on Amazon now.
Yeah. My book Alia Henry is in hardcover.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, and I found.
So, do you? Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, that's okay. You go.
I was curious, do you think that when you connect business with your creativity, you have to do it for money, does that take the joy out of it for you? Is that why you'd like to separate those things and just do it more as a passion? Because do you believe that it corrupts it a little bit when it turns into a business?
No, I mean, no one ever accuses a dentist of selling out, do they? I mean, I set out to make a business with my artwork. I designed giftware for a long time before doing the interior design job. But I think for me now, I'm just at a different point of my life where we have a business, so that itch is scratched over there with our business. And I wanted to separate. I was very much, I would go out and serve clients wearing my painting apron in my last job. I had to flip between the two, whereas now I don't have to. My writing is, it really is. And I've made that choice, and it's nice to be able to make a choice.
For sure. And also to do something you enjoy and, know that you have security from your other business, and writing could become your security too, but you have the space for that. Because a lot of times when we want to do something creative as our job, that's the problem, is money, right? It always comes down to money. Can we pay our rent? And
make no mistake, if I had to support myself on my writing, I would be living in a box.
As most writers do.
I wouldn't even be able to afford a garret. I would be in a box.
You talk a lot on your website, your blog, about spirituality and creativity. I'd like to talk a little bit more about how does spirituality connect with creativity for you? How do you see the connection? What is it to you?
I think for me, everything comes down to spirituality. I don't know if it's even the right word for it, but I meditate daily. My journaling is a meditative process as well. One thing I've found with my love of art history is I connected 3 or 4 years ago with the work of Jean Gebser, Gebser, and he laid the foundation for integral theory. And it starts getting a little bit heavy when I start talking about that, and spiral dynamics, which is another passion of mine that I talk about on my blog as well. But it's uncovering the layers of our psyche to an extent, and conscious growth. I like to talk about learning out loud on my blog, and being vulnerable and saying, well, I don't know this, I need to learn it. And that's a big part. I've been doing yoga for years, and it's that beginner mind always that they speak about, and not getting too far ahead of yourself. And spirituality for me is completely indivisible from my creativity. Yeah.
No, I like that. Tell us more about spiral theory. What is that?
Okay. So spiral dynamics was created, I suppose, or first postulated by Claire W. Graves, and it's a map of the development or evolution of human consciousness. So it was around about the same timing, I believe, as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So we've all heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a little triangle. And, I urge everyone to Google spiral dynamics, do a little learning out loud, or even look at my blog. I've got a couple of blogs that I wrote about July last year, or 2020, I think it was, where I was learning about spiral dynamics. And I wish that I was more clear. It's quite complex, and I wish that I could right now talk about it, but it's such a deep topic that I would urge everyone to do some learning themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you kind of have to like figure it out and like read through it.
But it's basically a map of the development of humans, and the connection with John Gebser with art history is he overlaid it as looking through art at if you look throughout history at the archaic, the cave paintings, and then we moved into the gods and the goddesses and the Buddha statues and what have you, and then we moved through time through the Renaissance and through different art periods, and through into modernism and postmodernism and where we're at now. And as soon as I saw the connection between art history, I actually felt to myself, oh, this is why I've been passionate about art all these years, only so that I could get to grips on integral theory and then it can go by the wayside to an extent. Yeah.
Oh, definitely have to explore that some more, and check out your blog for that too. I'm interested to learn more. And tell us how you define creativity. What is creativity to you?
Well, I think, it's probably something that a lot of people say, but, I think everyone is creative. If you're breathing, you're creating. A lot of people don't feel creative, but I think it's because it's being commodified, and this, as they keep saying, late stage capitalism, it's being commodified. If you can't have a number one record, then maybe you're not a great singer, or if you can't have an exhibition, maybe you're not a great painter. And it's made us all feel inadequate. And I just think everyone's creative, and that's why we're here. I really believe that we're just here to experience everything through our senses, through our taste and smell and our sight and touching. When you're in spirit, you can't touch anything, you can't love anything, you can't make anything, you can't bake a cake. It's only while we're here, in form, embodied, that we can do anything. So why shouldn't we do everything?
Yeah. Would that be the purpose of life for you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. To love and to create. They're my really, everything should be done out of love.
I love that. Love brings love.
Love brings love. Yeah.
And what's the difference between an artist and a creative for you?
Oh, I think they're the same thing. It's like, people say all the time, oh, are you a writer or an author? And it's like, well, it's the same thing, Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think people think artists, it's like, oh, you have to be a painter, you have to be a sculptor or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then like you could just, figure out how to build something or whatever. I mean, for me, it's the same too, but I think people take it to deeper levels. Like artist carries a higher like issue or something like that, It's
like author, maybe you have to have written a book to be an author. Yeah.
Why do you think creatives are attracted to France?
You know what? It's the light, it's the food, it's the energy there. There's a non-judgmental kind of attitude towards, and a welcoming attitude towards artists and being a bit different. And it's just been throughout history, or maybe the last couple of 100 years. They're not for a deeply religious sort of Catholic nation for centuries, they don't seem to have the puritanical attitude towards art that a lot of other countries have had.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I mean, even me coming from the States, it's like very Puritan, that's what we were founded on. We were escaping this prosecution. So, but it's just like you said, and I think it might have something to do with the fact that, the religious stuff was associated with the kingdom, and we kind of had like a whole thing with the kingdom where the kingdom was thrown down. So it was like a step away from everything, religion and kingdom. So, it creates a welcoming space for creatives.
Oh, and just the light. Seriously, there are times where I've walked along the street and I've just had to stop and just breathe and look at the light.
It's so true, though. The sunsets, the sunrises, they're amazing here. The clouds are so beautiful.
Absolutely.
And what advice would you give to people looking to find their creative gifts? Maybe they haven't found them yet.
You know what? I heard James Clear on a podcast say yesterday, try something new until something comes easily. Try new things until something comes easily. And that's what I did with my writing. I just kept trying, and then now I love it. A lot of people say they don't love writing, but they love having written. I love writing, and it's coming. I've been working through the craft and learning, and now to a very large extent, I'm so enraptured when I'm writing. I just love it, and it has come easily. So yeah, keep trying things, and you find something you love.
I love that. Yeah, just having fun with it. It's all about just having fun and playing.
Absolutely. I think we take ourselves, I think, as a writer, we've got to take our writing seriously, but we can't take ourselves too seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice. And what are you most excited about for your future work? What should we be looking for from you?
Well, I've got a lot of irons in a lot of fires at the moment. So more short stories. I'm actually now, maybe it's because I haven't been able to come to France for a while, but I'm actually writing at the moment. I have a book set in Australia, one set in LA, one set in modern day England, but it also has a section of the story set in Neolithic France in the area around Karnak. Have you been to the standing stones there?
I have not. I need to go there.
Oh, yes. That's first on my, I can't believe we've stayed in that area and I didn't even know they were there. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
Yeah. So there's these amazing standing stones. It will change your life. It will completely change your life.
All right, I'm going to the rocks.
That's right. Go to the rocks. But that whole area, the connection with the Celts. So I need to come back to Paris to create a new story set in Paris. It's been way too long.
Yeah, you're working on 3 books at the same time right now.
Yeah, I do that. It's
that's awesome.
Yeah, actually, I used to think that was a bad thing, but I heard somebody on a podcast. I love my podcasts. And they were just like, no, just if you have an idea, write it down, start making it. And it does come a point where you have to use what Joanna Penn on the Creative Pen calls your finishing energy. You can't just be using your starting energy or, your beginning energy all the time. You do have to finish something if you do want to make a career of it, whatever that looks like. Yeah. But both.
It'd be fun not to finish things, just change channels all the time.
Yeah, it is. And why not? If that's what you want to do, if you just want to muck around, then that's totally fine as well. There shouldn't be any rules.
I like that. No rules. And where can people connect with you online?
Well, that blog is writerpainter.com. So writerpainter.com. And that's my Instagram as well. I actually have anyone who's interested in my French stuff. I have an Instagram called Paris Time Travel and the same handle on Facebook. And I never barrage people with, hey, buy my books. But, you can actually go onto there and find the links to buy my books. And they're available, everywhere. And you can even go into your bookshop anywhere basically in the world and order either of my novels, which would be very exciting. At the moment, a lot of people are buying ebooks, which is fantastic. It's amazing to think that we can do that somebody in Finland bought one of my books 2 days ago. That's so cool.
Oh, congratulations. That's so cool. Like, it really connects us to the whole world.
It really does.
And definitely go buy her books, guys. I'm going to put the links to her books in the show notes so you can click and just grab whichever one grab all of them. And thank you so much, Christine, for chatting with me today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning in to La Vie Creative. You can find more information on MissParisPhoto.com. And if you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word for all my creative guests. We have the power to help them to keep doing what they love. See you next time.